Splatoon 3 has been known to show lots of brand new things coming to the game, and of course old things from the past two games coming in as well. But there's one thing that Nintendo really didn't touch on a lot. Well, there's a couple things because they also didn't talk about the story that much, but another thing they didn't talk about is the upcoming DLC that we're going to have to pay for. Of course, we have the inevitable free updates that are going to be coming to the game, but there's also going to be a paid DLC expansion very similar to that of Splatoon 2's Octo expansion, but this time it's named something completely different. They announced this DLC as large-scale paid DLC. Large scale, what does that mean? I've never really heard of anything like this before. DLC is DLC, normally just more additions, normally to the single player, especially since we know that everything coming to multiplayer kind of has to be free in order for everybody to play it, and we know they're all going to be free updates. They already announced that. So, you know, it's pretty much guaranteed that this is going to be story mode stuff, but what makes it large scale compared to the already story mode missions that we've been playing? Now, I'm pretty sure that the Octo expansion was never announced to be large scale paid DLC, just a paid DLC that was coming later on. And something else to mention is that the Octo expansion just took the missions that we've already had and expanded on them by making, you know, more unique versions of those missions. For instance, there were some that were time-based, there were some that required you to do a certain puzzle within a level and do everything within a time limit or, you know, with a certain amount of lives. So it was just like kind of a harder story campaign mode, which is very interesting this time around because it does make me wonder what else could they do? Well, I know exactly what else they could do. First, I'm going to talk about the trailer that we just got for the campaign of Splatoon 3. We've kind of already calculated that the missions are going to be a mixture of Splatoon 1 and 2's main missions, where you're trying to just get to the end of the level, and of course a mixture of the Octo expansion missions, where there's a time limit and you have a specific number of lives, and you have to do some type of puzzle or complete some type of task under a time limit, which is really cool. So it's like a mixture of all the story campaigns put together for one campaign mode, which is going to be pretty fun, of course. But there is something else that I think it's missing. So let me explain what I think this could be. Do you remember back at the very beginning of the reveal of Splatoon 3, we saw this barren wasteland and we saw this Inkling kind of just hunkered down with its staminate buddy out in the wastelands, and we didn't know what was going on. I think a lot of people originally thought this was going to be a Splatoon spin-off, which was kind of based more on a story mode, more of an adventure mode Splatoon instead of, you know, focusing on multiplayer, since we just had Splatoon 2, it felt like. We saw some scenes of the Inkling running around and it looked like it was going to be more of an open world adventure Splatoon this time around, not those floating platform obstacle courses in the sky, and it really looked like something different until we saw that they were just running to catch the train into the brand new, you know, hub world, and of course entering Splatoon 3, showing the, you know, 4v4 battles and everything, and then we were like, okay, you know, it's not just a campaign-based Splatoon. However, I still think there's something to this. It just looks a little too off for this not to be used in any other type of way. I feel like we might actually finally get more of an open-ended adventure Splatoon game, which actually allows us to move around in a bigger world. Once again, naming it large-scale DLC screams like it's more than just more floating obstacle course missions that you have to complete. I feel like they've already are going to cover this way too much now. Now with 3 games and a DLC from the second game, why would they just keep adding more of these missions? I feel like it has to be something else, like something more expansive, something bigger, something that's actually worth the name large scale. Now, unfortunately, there's not a lot to go off of here besides the name large scale paid DLC, and then an image that gives us a picture of Pearl and Marina. You know, Callie and Marie and the new idols being Fry, Shiver, and Big Man are all going to be within the main campaign, but the 2 idols missing right now are Splatoon's finest, being Pearl and Marina. What are they up to? It looks like they're going to be in control of the DLC once again, the same way they were in control of the Octo expansion. Maybe this time we're getting a true expansive story with a lot more lore and more of an adventure style for Splatoon and for the Inklings to explore around, which would be super cool. Like, imagine a Splatoon campaign with like cutscenes and different worlds to explore and run all over and paint up different walls and mountains to climb up and stuff. That would be so cool. I don't know why, but the first thing that comes to my mind is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I don't know, to me it has a similar vibe and color palette, and it just feels like something that Splatoon would look like in adventure mode. Imagine a world like that, with multiple different levels and stuff to explore, but it's actually a connected world instead of just floating platforms in the sky. And imagine these buildings and walls that you see in Kirby, but you can paint on them and swim up them. Oh, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't have a problem paying for DLC like that because, man, I think it'd be an expansive adventure that almost everyone would have a fun time with. Of course, adding more lore and, like I said, having cutscenes and cool moments and stuff and character interactions, I think this could be really big for Splatoon and maybe even eventually give it its own, adventure game outside of just being a multiplayer game. I would love to see Splatoon expand on different horizons and have different spin-off titles and stuff that connects to lore outside of just online multiplayer, and that way we could get more Splatoon games instead of one every 5 to 6 years. I think that would be a great idea. Like, just finding all the sunken scrolls and hidden lore within the obstacle course style levels already is a lot of fun, but imagine if there was like little tiny Easter eggs and hidden things that kind of reference the past life and like skeletal remains and tracks and just kind of pieces and remnants of past life that we could be like, oh, that looks like the Statue of Liberty, or oh, that looks like the Empire State Building sticking out of the dirt and stuff, and you get to uncover these secrets yourself in an adventure mode like that would be so much fun, and I think Nintendo could really work with this and make multiple games like this. Now, I'm not thinking anything super expansive like Breath of the Wild, or maybe not even Bowser's Fury with Mario 3D World, but something more along the lines of Mario 3D World, or like I just said, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, where there may be small segmented levels or worlds that are kind of, a little bit more compact. You can't go anywhere you want, but you can explore around, you can climb mountains, you can paint up terrain and stuff, and anywhere you can paint, you can swim up to. So that'd be really cool. Of course, there'll be super high mountains that you're probably not able to reach, and they'll have cutoffs that kind of maybe divide the different levels, but I could really see this working, and this is the only thing that I can really think would be large-scale paid DLC. Is there anything else that I could be missing that could be large-scale paid DLC? The only thing that I could possibly think of is maybe something like a giant game mode that you have to pay for in order to play in certain lobbies, for instance, like a battle royale or like a huge team battle or something like that, but I just don't think that's going to be something that they would have to make you pay for. I feel like they would just come to have a free update with that. Is there really many battle royales nowadays that people have to pay for outside of like the main game? I don't know. I don't see why Nintendo would do something like that. So this has to be campaign stuff. To me, if it's campaign information and stuff like that, it's got to be something grand in my opinion for them to say large-scale paid DLC and for them to do something different compared to the stuff that they've already been doing from Splatoon 1, 2, and the Octo expansion. So this is kind of the only thing I think they could do, which makes me even more excited. But of course, like always, I leave it up to you guys. What do you think this large-scale paid DLC is going to be? Maybe some of you guys have ideas that are different from mine, and maybe if you guys have enough unique ideas, I may make a video on what you guys think. I am pretty excited. I mean, this would probably launch around spring of next year. That's when the Octo expansion, I think, launched, just the, following spring of that following year. So yeah, I think around spring, March, April, May area, we'll probably see whatever this is going to be, and I'm super excited to get my hands on this paid DLC before the game even comes out, because I think it's going to be something massive. But thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you guys enjoy the Splatoon information lately, and I will see you all in the next one. See you guys.